For over 2 years, the captivating series Blood Sisters by Temidayo made its debut on Netflix. The storyline revolves around the luxurious engagement party between Kola and Sarah that takes a dark turn, leading to a gripping tale of friendship and survival. As the two friends, Sarah and Kemi, found themselves entangled in a dangerous situation, they must band together to navigate through perilous circumstances. At its core, the movie is a gripping thriller that dives into the theme of abuse and the consequences of a defense gone wrong. The movie began where Ademola's first son was hiring a thug to eliminate his younger brother, Kola. It was such an amazing clip showcasing the busy street of Lagos where everyone was minding their business. Then followed by the arrogant second son of Ademola, Kola, addressing the business meeting. I was like, who the hell is this guy that's so like that? Watching Mrs. Ademola, played by Kate Henshaw, I also felt the same thing. Mrs. Ademola showcased a constant state of living above every other individual in the world. She kind of tells her world what to do. Her moves, her steps, her actions felt so realistically true. I can see that the writer sat down and thought, what would really life version of a wealthy woman be like? We see the picture of her addressing the public of her intention, tells it all, eventually uncovering the lives of the arrogant, greedy personalities in a real world, and very disturbing too. She eliminated her husband when her husband found out that Kola, the second son, was not his own biological son. So that was what caused the death of her husband. And she did that also to take over the family's wealth. So when the husband was out of the way, she took over and started acting so pompous. Blood Sister is not just a drama only. It is also a crime thriller. And what they do really feel like the way the rich act in real world. In fact, Mrs. Ademola comes off like a godmother to the world. The way she carries herself and the way she talks to people is really demeaning. Also, significant to this episode is the bond between the two friends, Kemi and Sarah. The reason the movie worked well for me is the way they relate with each other, and also how they build together as a team against the great Nigerian police and against the more controlling forces from the Ademolas. They watched over each other and they were ready to sacrifice their last for each other. Because the two friends, Kemi and Sarah, did not just kill Kola, from chopping off the head of their victim to burying him in a shallow grave and also robbing like highway robbers. On the other hand, Mrs. Ademola also committed different types of crime to maintain the family status. Ademola family is extremely wealthy. They have companies and investments worth billions. Ademola himself died a year before, leaving his wife, 2 sons, and a daughter behind. So Kola, the second son of the family, was going to get married. His mother has placed all the family's business to his hand. And so his elder brother and his sister, they both have to work under his own instructions, under his leadership. As a result, Kola became so arrogant, so full of himself, because he's the one controlling the wealth of the family. And he sees other people as toys. He hits his fiancée, Sarah, at every slight opportunity. He maltreats people. He sleeps with girls and maltreats them. he sleeps with different kinds of girls and abused them. It was on the same day that Kola was going to get married to Sarah. On that same day that Kola died. He was killed by the very person that was supposed to be his wife. It happened that they had a little argument, and then he hit the wife to be so hard that the wife could not even move. It happened that Sarah's ex-boyfriend came looking for Sarah that day in the hall where everyone was gathering, and Kola saw it. So Kola now went inside the room to wait for Sarah, and he hit Sarah so hard, even when it was not Sarah's fault. That's by the way. He hit Sarah and left the room. Sarah was crying when Kemi, her friend, came in and saw her crying and said, Kola hit you right again. So which means it's been something that he has been doing. And then Kemi advised Sarah not to go ahead with this marriage. That if a man will get himself to hit you on the day that you are supposed to wed, that eventually it is going to be like Sarah will become his punching bag. So Kemi advised Sarah not to go ahead with the marriage. Later, Sarah went to see her mom in the different room where her mom was lodging and told her mother that she would not go ahead with the marriage because Kola continued to hit her. But her mother dismissed the idea because they see themselves as poor family that has got opportunity now because of Sarah's wedding, opportunity to get involved with the Ademola, he hit you when your ex-boyfriend showed up, for whatever reason. A mother should stand for her child, but because she wanted to belong to a wealthy family, she dismissed the idea. So Sarah went back to her room, but she wasn't feeling it. On the day of your wedding, you are crying because your husband-to-be hit you so hard. So she wasn't having it. At a point, she sent for Kola. She asked Kola to come so that they would sort things out. She told Kola that she was going to quit the marriage. Kola said no, that already the guests are there. They have paid a lot, this, that she cannot disgrace him. But Sarah insisted and said, you have hit me several times. This time, I'm not taking it again. We are going to call off the wedding. On the process, because Kola was insisting that the point, Kemi, Sarah's friend, walked into the room, and that one firing sent Kola to his early grave instantly. And Kola was gone. That was how the story went. And the rest was a story. So after they buried him, these two girls, they were something else. They acted so real. In the night, they have to chop off the head of Kola, and they went to bury him somewhere in a shallow grave. A cameraman who was supposed to video what was going on and the wedding that day saw them, videoed them. So when later on they finally got to know that it was Sarah and her friend who killed Kola, her husband-to-be. So the chase began. The police, Ramsey, and every other person. The rest was a story. The revelation of Mrs. Ademola's dark secrets, including her involvement in her husband's death, and the true identity of her second son, Kola, added a layer of complexity to the storyline, shedding light on the greed and the deception that lurked beneath the surface. The dynamics between the two loyal friends, Sarah and Kemi, added depth to the narrative as they banded together to navigate the chase. The movie's visual appeal and well-crafted action and sequences, coupled with its suspenseful plot and emotional moments, transported me into a world that felt all real. The writer's skillful storytelling kept me on the edge of my seat, fully immersed in the gripping tale of power, betrayal, and friendship. This movie looks great. The writer is a great writer. In particularly, the action scenes are honed very well. The actions are well defined. You can understand what is happening when looking at their actions. And this gave me the vibe of what they call reality. It feels like you live in that world. It is suspenseful and full of emotional moments. I urge you to go and watch the film. Go and watch the movie. It is such a high standard movie. Like, I bet you will not regret. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.